Sure. So my name is Manuel. I'm 28 years old. I'm a 2021 charter member from ICT, and I trade mostly um, liquidity runs in terms of like I aim for relative equal highs, relative equal lows, and old lows, old highs. Uh, Using many times silver bullet is my go-to model as I approach the market.
So pretty much what
And
we were doing in drills today, just looking for inefficiencies to act
yeah,
on an obvious
exactly.
draw on liquidity. Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome.
Exactly. That was very very pleasant to see. But nonetheless, my question is about how we saw that the 1 minute chart today during the morning session was getting really fuzzy, really high resistance, and not really clear in terms of the read. But in that case, don't we or wouldn't we look for like a higher time frame chart, like 5 minute or 15 minute, to get a better view or more higher time frame clarity to the price action, so we can like um, get a better feel for what side is more probable. Because if we would look like on the 5 minute chart, it was like way cleaner in terms of seeing the bullish order flow, right? Which on 1 minute we could like anticipate potential pullbacks, deeper pullbacks lower, but on 5 minute it wasn't really that permissible or obvious, right?
That's true. But you got to remember, I'm taking them into one time frame and a sub 1 minute time frame for them to see. It's like a pressure cooker. I'm forcing them to observe things that form very quickly. So they have to make decisions quick. They have to make a decision quick about what they think they're seeing and act on it. If they miss it, they have to wrestle with they missed it. If they are only looking at 1 minute and not trying to get away from the time distortion, because I gave that remedy for you by going up time frames to remove time distortion. The fact that we're looking for triggers to help key up on a brand new student, brand new trader, or someone that's saying, "Look, I've been playing around with this stuff. I want to get serious with it. How would I do that?" You start like this, and you find what your triggers are. Just because the price action was, you know, a little unruly on the 1 minute chart doesn't make it impossible to trade. It just means that you're going to find it a little bit more difficult to do so. When we first talked about in the beginning of the stream, where was the focus placed on as a, if we were going to say a bias? What was the directional bias? What was the thing I anchored everybody's thoughts to when we first started the stream? Except for the fact that it's ugly right now, but we're going to work through it. What was the direction it was going to go in? And it wasn't limited just to this morning either.
All-time highs.
Higher, yeah, obviously, yeah, exactly.
And I talked about 26,300s, right? Did you hear that number come up in the beginning of the stream?
And at the
Yes,
very end of yesterday's.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
So by having that, how fast was it for each of you to get really sucked in to when there was an opportunity to look for a potential run lower? I was laying down PD arrays that looked like, okay, we're going to see if it trades down there. I'm putting every viewer in the same scenario they would be on their first day. You completely, even though it was told to you in the beginning, you completely are forced outside of the lens of 26,300s. You completely forgot about it. That was what we started with. That's what we've been talking about. So that's where the most probability is going to go. But on the first day, are you going to stick to that? No. You're going to abandon it. You don't think about the higher time frame. You're getting caught up in chasing these lower time frame inefficiencies, these little gaps, these little order blocks, these little this, that, and the other thing. And if that's all you're watching, if that's all you're going to look at, and you don't have a draw where the market may expand to, it's going to be hard for you. It's going to be difficult to answer in agreement with what you said about how the 1 minute was fuzzy, as I call it. It's sharing a lot of the previous candles range. When you go up, if you go up to a 10 minute, Admittedly, I was looking at a 10-minute chart on my phone. Shh, don't tell anybody. But you watch the price action on the 10-minute chart, you'll see that it's absolutely 100% crystal clear what it was doing. But a forced perspective, just in that 1-minute chart, everybody, if you spent enough time in the stream, you're going to be pulled out of what you want to see, and then it becomes a challenge. Okay, he thinks this, I'm going to think that. Or, yeah, I agree with that. Or, yeah, that really makes sense there, because I'm giving you small little opportunities, small little sample set of opinion pressed inside of a context that everybody probably abandoned the 26,300s. So if it's going to draw in that direction, everything that would have been viewed as a long, that's the best case scenario. And you won't know that on your first day. But when you're a month into it and you look back at it, you'll be able to say, oh, if I would have been focusing on this side of the market then, and one can say, yeah, perfect, hindsight's 2020. But you don't, I told you in the beginning of the stream, I told you in the analysis where these markets were going. But just because I'm out here pointing to something, you're gonna be pulled into that because of influence. And that's why I do what I do, how I do it, because I want you to find it organically in your own. And use the rules I've taught. You came into the question and made an observation, and you reminded everybody, if we're seeing time distortion on a time frame, go up in time frames, and it'll remove it. It'll bring it back into focus. You're too close to it. The magnification on the telescope, or microscope in this case, is too strong. You want to back it out, then you can be able to pull out the details that you're too close to see otherwise. So kudos for that. And kudos also for having a very simple model, because it's not complex what you're doing. And if you make a routine of practicing every day, a little bit every day, you're not forcing the model. You're just doing what you're equipping yourself to do on a day-by-day basis. But you're doing it when it makes the most sense to do so.